One of baseball's more exciting players turned his career around, revitalizing his career, having a fan base love him, suddenly disappear, seemingly off the face of the earth.
What began as the Mets' inability to locate.
And this story is about the mysterious disappearance of Yoenis Céspedes. Let's take you back to 2020, the COVID season.
Major League Baseball is officially back after a 3-month delay because of the coronavirus.
Information, Elliot?
It was all drive-up testing for the Red Sox today. Players arriving, going in to get tested, and having their temperatures taken.
2020 was the opt-out year. It was a lot of people opted out, but mostly not bigger names. Mike Leake opted out, Ian Desmond opted out, Ryan Zimmerman opted out just after they won the World Series, Buster Posey opted out, probably one of the better catchers of our generation. But moving forward, let's bring you to August 2nd in Atlanta. And nothing was normal about the 2020 year, but as far as baseball goes, this was normal routine, ready to go.
It's a sigh of relief tonight after a New York Mets player failed to show up to tonight's game against the Braves.
Now, this mysterious news put the whole sports world in a frenzy.
A strip club, or he quitted a team, or whatever, but it wasn't that he, I don't see him being a drug user or any of that stuff. He's too healthy physically, forget the heels, but mentally, boy, is he just absolutely nuts. And this is why he's been on so many teams for so many years. This is why the way this ends here now for the Mets is a disgrace on his part, not on the Mets' part.
Before we hear about the repercussions that follow, I want to rewind a little bit.
You're gonna see some serious shit.
Let's bring it back to 2015, when the Mets traded for Yoenis Céspedes, and he quickly made a name for himself. In the second half of the season, Céspedes put up really good numbers, hitting 3 home runs against the Rockies, doing various things, and defensively, he was really a stud. And it looked like the Mets maybe had their future. Left fielder did really well in the playoffs. People all loved him. The Mets maybe thought they had their left fielder locked up. In 2016, they signed him to a big extension, 3 years, $75 million. That's nothing to sneeze at. And that was when the Wilpons owned them. That was big money for those suckers. And Céspedes almost lived up to the bill. He was still playing really well. He was a cornerstone for the franchise, a kind of a piece to build around. It's nice to see someone living up to their potential. Someone that bounced around for a while, living up to what they had. But then suddenly, it all kind of derailed. With Injury Guy right there. In this chapter, I want to call it the beginning of the end of Yoenis Céspedes. As we'll get to in a minute or so, Yoenis Céspedes hurt both of his heels. It was a double heel. His Achilles heel was gone. And he was out for multiple years during this time. It was not just a couple months. This man was out for like 2 seasons at a time, right after signing this deal.
Is that Yoenis needs to have surgery on both heels. The window right now we've been given is 8 to 10 months. It's possible it could be longer than that. It probably won't.
Received news from him that he suffered an accident on his ranch in Port St. Lucie and suffered ankle.
Everyone was like, ranch? Okay, weird. But then we found out this information.
Trapping boars. But anyone that's like, well, dude, what if like are players not allowed to have like hobbies? Like in the video, it's not about trapping boars. He loves his ranch, and the boars eat all the seed that he plants and fuck with his ranch. So he needs to trap them.
Right.
Like, hire a guy. Hire a guy to do that part.
We later found out a wild boar did this to Yoenis Céspedes, which is probably the most bizarre injury of all time. He didn't want him to eat his land, so he set up traps. Yeah, he set up boar traps inside his ranch. I don't know what he was thinking. It reminds me of Kevin McAllister. It's a Home Alone type trap.
Ponga los muelles. Ya se queda abierta. Queda abierta no se cierra. Entonces esta cubeta.
He has a corn bucket where he fills up these, whatever. It's a weird mechanism. It's legit Home Alone. It's just like, oh, you open the door and there's a staple, or you know, the tools fall on your head. It's whatever. And to make matters worse, he actually got hurt in his career doing these traps. It's a dumb trap. So now, with a little background of what we were dealing with, 2020 is the last of Mohicans. That's Céspedes' last home run in an empty 2020 COVID Citi Field. Something we will never see again, little beknownst to Mets fans. and he really did not play well. I know everyone has slumps and everyone gets attacked by wild boars, but this was different. And now we come full circle to August 2nd, 2020, where the Mets were going to play the Braves. No one knew where Céspedes was. He did not check in. And then we find out Céspedes opts out for the rest of the season.
Park this morning in Atlanta, the Mets unsuccessfully tried to contact and locate Céspedes. Late in New York's 4-0 loss to the Braves, general manager Brodie Van Wagenen was informed, as you just heard, that Céspedes was in fact opting out of the remainder of the season.
I just wanted to give an update on Yoenis Céspedes. We learned during the game today, late in the game, that he's decided to opt out of the remainder of the season for COVID-related reasons.
Fan base that really liked the guy, it was a terrible way to go. I mean, people were holding up Simba for him. His walkout music was The Lion King. He kind of was sick. Way before Edwin Diaz stole the show with the better walkout music. But, I mean, his career was on the up and up. It looked like he was going to carry the Mets throughout the playoffs for many years to come. He was a solid left fielder. I mean, granted, that was Albert Pujols, but he did have a cannon. They signed him. They put their future in him. And he left them in the dust. He created a manhunt to find him when he opted out. Just, opt out in the beginning. I don't know. Weird way to go out. Such a strange story, to be honest, but that was in the past. The Mets almost made the World Series this year, so they put this behind him. Just another Mets history piece to be aware of. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, if you want, sub, like, whatever. I'm going to leave you with this.